What's going on, everyone? Summer's around the corner, and that means one thing. Everyone's trying to get their summer body ready. So in this video, I'm going to talk about what you should be doing on a cut and what I eat daily during a cutting phase. So I'm sure you've done a lot of research on what you should be doing during a cutting phase, and maybe you've seen some videos telling you that you need to eat 5 small meals each day or that you need to be in a calorie deficit. And honestly, there's so much information out there that it almost becomes overwhelming and frustrating and you don't know what's true and what you need to do. When in reality, it's not that complicated. The first thing you gotta do is just eat a lot of nutrient-dense foods like vegetables. I mean, just think about it. You don't see people that are mainly eating pizza, ice cream, and other empty calories getting super ripped. Eating those nutrient-dense foods are going to give you big results on a cut, which is actually why I'm usually on a paleo or ketogenic diet when I'm on a cut, depending on how extreme I want to be. Yeah, you can still have some carbs and stuff. There are carbs that are better, like quinoa, brown rice. Those are kind of nutrient dense, so you can still have those. But you really have to watch out for those carbs that just have empty calories, like tortillas or pizza and all that good stuff. Because when you start eating all those empty calories, it's going to be really hard to stay in a calorie deficit. And a calorie deficit is extremely important on a cut, but it really isn't everything. So many people say it's all about the calorie deficit and that there's no hormones that are going to impact you on a cut or anything like that, and that's ridiculous. If everything was all about how many calories you're putting in and how many you're burning out, you could literally calculate what weight you're going to be at this time and this time and this time, so there are other factors that go into play. For example, you can do intermittent fasting, which I do every day, especially on a cut. And intermittent fasting will help you shred fat. You can have the same amount of calories in this 8-hour time frame compared to your normal day of eating, and you'll burn more fat. And if you don't know how to do intermittent fasting, check out my other video about how to do intermittent fasting correctly so that you can see these results and get your summer body ready. Alright, now that we talked about some of the strategies that I use and apply for my cut, let's get into what I actually eat. So since I do intermittent fasting, my first meal is actually going to be around noon. And I pretty much alternate between 2 meals for breakfast. The first being 6 eggs with some bacon, avocado, bell pepper, spinach. And I usually just put it all in a pan, scramble it all up, or sometimes I'll make an omelet. So that meal is obviously pretty high in fats and low in carbs, which is really good because I'll have more stable energy throughout the day. But obviously sometimes that gets pretty old if you have the same meal every day. So the other meal I like to have is kind of like a salmon salad or a chicken salad. But these salads are pretty extreme. They're not your standard salads. If I were to go out and buy a salad rather than make it myself, I would literally have to buy like 2 of them and add some extra meat on them and avocado. My salads are intense. And see, that's one of the things I'm talking about. You don't have to just focus on staying in a calorie deficit and not eating a lot. You just have to eat a lot of nutrient-dense foods and do things like intermittent fasting. Even if I'm on a cut, every one of my meals is going to be huge and fulfilling. And then throughout the day, I'll usually eat some nuts, an apple, a banana, or something small just to hold me off till dinner. And then around 6 or 6:30, I'll start prepping my dinner. And basically, for dinner, I'm going to cut back a little bit on my meats or carbs and add more vegetables. So for dinner, when I'm not on a cut, I usually eat about a pound of meat and a pound of vegetables. But on a cut, I'll usually have 3/4 pound of meat and then a pound and a half or 2 pounds of vegetables. And I know, that's a ton of food. And you're probably wondering, how does this guy stay in this shape? He should be overweight. Well, it all comes back to what I'm talking about. I'm eating a lot of nutrient-dense foods and doing things like intermittent fasting. And then the last thing you should be doing is just working out and doing some cardio. Cardio is really good because it'll help you burn calories, but it's also going to help with your metabolism. But when you're doing cardio, you want to make sure you're doing it the correct way to burn fat. So I have a video which teaches you how to do cardio correctly, and then you should also be doing sprints. Sprints are extremely good for fat loss and lean muscle development, so if you're serious about a cut, you have to be doing them. I have videos about both cardio and sprints, so make sure to check them out. Honestly, going on a cut isn't that complicated. You just have to do everything I talked about in this video. But the problem is, a lot of people don't know what nutrient-dense foods or what nutrient-dense foods they should be eating. So what I've done is I've created a list that will tell you which foods are really nutrient-dense and will help you get ripped. If you want that, you can click the link in the description and enter in your email and I'll send that out to you.